أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to Fall 2020. Well, in this semester, I'm your course teacher for Business Communication and Ethics. My name is Muhammad Fareed. Today is our week number 1 and recorded lecture number 1. Well, in today's lecture, we are going to have subject introduction. We will try to understand course CLOs, its importance, and maybe a few clarifications that usually students require because we should have clear mind about this course we are going to spend the whole semester. So if there are any confusion, I'll try to rectify them in this lecture, and then you can further ask me in our live session. So let's move forward.
Okay, first and very important thing, you know, following our university system, we must know CLOs of the course, that is, course learning outcomes of the course. What are you expected to be able to do at the end of the course?
So there are 3 CLOs. Number 1, students will be able to explain business communication concepts and simulate in oral communication situations. Now this CLO actually covers 2 areas. One is the basic concepts of business communication, and second is oral communication simulation. Number 2, students will be able to compose for specific communication situations. Now, this CLO focuses on writing, that will include your job letter, resume, everyday office routine letters, short reports, memos, so on and so forth. So, the second CLO focuses on your writing skill in a specific business situation. And third, students will be able to analyze professional ethics cases. So this deals with your ethics part, professional ethics, where you should be able to analyze and resolve professional case studies that are there in professional ethics, generally speaking, and to be very specific, we can say in engineering ethics. Okay, let's talk about importance of this course, and of course this is a quotation taken from Joseph DeVito's Human Communication book. Well, of all the knowledge and skills that you have, those concerning communication are among the most important and useful. Communication will always play a crucial part in your personal and professional lives, and its mastery and competence will influence how effectively you live these lives, like personal and professional lives. So apart from this particular quotation, there are many other researches that have proven that communication skills are very important at your professional life, and they have a key role in your promotion at your workplace, in your communication with your clients, your communication with your seniors, with your junior staff, and its importance cannot be denied, and it has played a significant role. So, regardless of your profession, you are an engineer or a physician or a businessman, whatever the field you belong to, one thing that is common to all these fields and even to your personal lives, as mentioned in this quotation, there is communication skills. That if you have a strong communication skills, you know, you can do better both in your professional as well as in your personal life. Okay, so some of you may be thinking that if you have already had, functional English course in your first year, then why would you require this business communication and ethics course, which might look similar to you? Well, let us try to understand these two terms for the clarity. Number one, English for academic purposes, right? English for academic purposes related courses have focus on English language that you require for education. For example, your functional English must have helped you in reading comprehension so that you can learn techniques to comprehend your engineering books, your research papers, or your other reading material. So that was for academic purposes. Similarly, like you learn to write, maybe reports, short reports, and those reports helped you, improve, writing your maybe project reports, your assignments, and other things. Then you also covered basic grammar rules and practiced it. Again, of course, that is required both for your oral and written skills. So, functional English actually focuses more on EAP, English for academic purposes. How you can utilize English language for studies at undergraduate and also to some extent at your postgraduate. So it's most of the time or most part of it is academic base. Whereas this course, business communication and ethics, it has a different purpose, right? And a common term that is used for such courses is English for specific purposes, ESP, right? In this particular course, our focus is going to be English language usage in communication and for your workplace, right? We can say it can be before workplace, your employment communication, and then at workplace, your communication. So employment communication, like I have already said, oral employment communication, your job interviews, right? And at workplace, your oral communication would be like your official meetings and presentations and all that. Then written communication for employment communication would be your resume and job letters. And for office communication, we will learn to write letters, emails, memos, short reports, so on and so forth. So please keep one thing in mind: focus of this course, both oral and written communication as well as theoretical understanding, is going to be specific for your workplace, either preparation for your workplace or your communication at the workplace, at office, right? Whether you establish your own business or you join some organization, in either of the cases you will be required to communicate. And in Pakistan, as you know, English is official language together with Urdu. So we definitely require it. We require it both for oral and written communication. And then third part of this is ethics, where we are going to learn engineering ethics and professional ethics, right? Again, a very important area that is required both in professional and personal lives. So I think this is how this course, business communication and ethics, is going to be different from functional English that you have covered in your first year, right? So in other words, we can say functional English, I mean, having cleared functional English course is a sort of prerequisite for this business communication and ethics, because we will not be discussing grammar and basic language related things in it. Yes, we will talk about principles, effective principles of communication, where and if needed, and we also have a topic where we would be covering it, but we are not going to focus on the basic language skills that you have already had in your functional English, right? Well, let's move forward. Before we go ahead, quite often engineers are little confused. Like it's based on my experience, almost 13-14 years experience at NED, that quite often some of you, not all of you, some of you, they know, well, why would we require listening skills, why would we require speaking skills, why would we require reading skills, or why would we require writing skills? After all, we are engineers, and we are not doing masters in English language or literature. Well, let's see one thing. We do not want you to be native speakers, but since we require English language in Pakistan and as a matter of fact around the world, so we need these 4 basic skills. For example, like as soon as you complete your graduation, you shall inshallah be going for job interviews, right? Now see, in job interviews, if you are unable to communicate, because most of the job interviews, most part at least 70 to 80% of your job interview is expected to be in English language. Now if you cannot answer those questions in English, like the question is being asked in English and you answer in Urdu, that would show one thing, that how could you understand all those lectures at university for 4 years that were delivered in English if you are that much less proficient in your speaking and in listening? Or if you are unable to understand the question that was asked in English, then again that would raise a question mark. Well, how did you comprehend those lectures for 4 years that were delivered in English language for most part, as NED University has English language as medium of communication and medium of instruction? It means almost every day you listen to English language for around 4 to 5 hours at an average, right? Now the question would be, well, how could you understand those lectures in English? And if you are unable to speak in interviews, if you are unable to use proficiently English language, then the question would be, well, how could you give so many presentations? Because there are dozens of presentations that you are required to give during your undergraduate program. Then there is your final year project presentation. Now coming towards reading skills, very important. Now you have almost 40 to 45 courses in your undergraduate program at an average, and all of them, all the reading materials that is in English language. Now if you have poor reading comprehension, then that raises a question, well, how could you understand those books or reading material for those 40 to 45 courses that you have covered at undergraduate level? Because none of the book is in Urdu or in any other language. All of the books are in English language, whether they are Islamic studies or they are Pakistan studies or they are English or they are your basic sciences or they are from your basic engineering discipline. All of them are in English language. So again, if suppose during assessment, if they give you some case study to read and solve, and you cannot understand the case, how will you be able to solve that? And if you cannot understand a small case because of your reading comprehension skills, then of course that is going to be a big question mark even on us, that how could you comprehend those reading material in books, a number of books that you are required to go through, and you actually go through, most of you. So reading skills, again, very important. It's not that we are making you English major student. It's because being engineer, you should have very good reading comprehension skills so that you can comprehend engineering books, you can comprehend engineering researches, you can comprehend other general reading that's in English. You can comprehend general articles, magazine articles, if you are required to read from international publication. Then moving towards writing skills. Moving towards writing skills, as I have already said, that English is official language, at least one of the official language if we consider Urdu also, in Pakistan. Now, if you are required to, when you join an organization, your emails, they are going to be in English. We do not write emails in Urdu or any other local language in Pakistan. The letters, if you are required to write letters to the clients or to somebody else, again, in official capacity in Pakistan, we do not write letters in Urdu language. Again, you require English language writing skills to compose those letters and to compose those emails, and even reports. Like if you are working on a project and you are required to submit a project report, that report is not going to be in Urdu at all, and you must have English language writing skills so that you can make a clear, complete and comprehensible, effective project report. So if you do not have writing skills, despite you completed the project very well, but if you could not present it effectively, if you could not write it well, then despite your technical skills, your project may not be taken as good as it would have been taken if it were with a very clear writing or very clear report. So we do require writing, English language writing skills. They are required from the for employment communication, like your resume and job letter. Then they are required at your workplace, the emails you shall be writing, the letters you will be required to write, the memorandums, the memos that you will be writing to your juniors or to your seniors, or they all are in English language, whether you join a public organization, government organization, or a private organization. So in either case, you will be required to write your letters, emails, memos, reports, everything in English. And if and you know, even your final year project, your all assignments, they all are in English, so you do not have any other option but to improve your English language writing skills. So once again, just keep this question aside. We do not want you to become native speakers. We want you to be proficient in basic skills of English language, so that you can listen and comprehend very well whenever you are required to listen to a talk, a conversation, a meeting that is being held in English language, and in most of the cases they are. We want you to be able to be effective language user, proficient speaker, so that you can easily appear in job interviews. You can easily communicate in official meetings. You can comfortably give your effective presentations being an engineer. Similarly, your reading skills, so that you can comprehend your engineering related books, research journals, magazines. Again, reading skills for engineer. Like writing skills, again, I have already mentioned, you can write effective emails, you can compose comprehensible short reports, you can write memos. So these all skills are required to become an effective engineer. So we don't want you to become a native speaker, nor our focus is to make you major in English language, right? But to become an effective engineer in the present circumstances as we have in Pakistan or in other parts of the world, these language skills, English language skills, are definitely going to help you to become a better engineer. Now let's move towards types of human communication, right? The first type is intrapersonal communication, right? We will be covering some theoretical topics, those basic theoretical concepts in communication that are needed to understand communication. And then we'll go for oral communication, and finally, after oral communication, we'll go for written communication, and finally, at the end, we will cover professional ethics part or ethics parts in this course. So first, let's try to understand intrapersonal communication, right? Well, these are a few points about intrapersonal communication. You talk to yourself, you learn and evaluate yourself, you persuade yourself about one thing or the other, you reason about possible decisions to make, and you rehearse the message you intended to send to others. For example, when we are planning for our future, right? Suppose you are alone and you are planning your future, what you are going to do after your graduation, then after your masters, and now nobody is around. You are actually communicating to yourself. So that is intrapersonal communication, right? Or you have a meeting, or you have interview tomorrow, and you rehearse for interview, a day or two or 1 week before the interview. So you are actually rehearsing for the interview, asking the question yourself and maybe answering yourself, right? So if you are doing it alone, both questions and answers come from you, then it means you are communicating to yourself. Now the second type of human communication we have, that is interpersonal communication. Remember, the first one was intrapersonal, this one is interpersonal communication, right? In interpersonal communication, you interact with others, you learn about them and about yourself. and you also reveal yourself to others. So interpersonal communication is communication with others, whether with new acquaintances, old friends, or family members. It's through interpersonal communication that you establish, maintain, sometimes destroy or repair your personal relationships. So whenever you communicate with others, those others can be strangers. You may have first meeting or interaction with them, or they can be your close friends, or they can even be your relatives. So you actually have interpersonal communication with them. So your communication with others, those others can be an individual, like you may talk to your one friend, and you may be discussing something with your 5 colleagues, right? So your communication with others is interpersonal communication, right? And your communication with yourself is intrapersonal communication, as we saw in the last slide. That was point number 1. Let's move forward to point number 3, a small group communication. Well, in a small group communication, you interact with others. Usually it is used for solving problems, developing new ideas, and sharing knowledge and experiences. Now, from the employment interview to the executive board meeting, from the informal social groups having coffee to the formal meetings discussing issues of international concern, your work and social life are lived largely in small groups. Like you have when you come for physical classes, so in most of the cases students in break times they form their small groups, like a group of 4 to 5 people who have similar thoughts, or they feel comfortable with each other. So they sit together, they have a cup of tea, or maybe they take some snacks, or they may just even sit somewhere in the corridors. So that group of people, 5, 7 people, 4 people sitting together, that is a small group communication. Like usually in your final year project, you have a group of 4 to 5 people. So again, that is a small group communication, right? At your workplace, if you have a meeting with your other 6, 7 colleagues, so that again is a small group communication. So in most of the cases, we have this small group communication both in our personal and in our professional lives. Like if you discuss something at your home with your parents and siblings, there are 4 or 5 people sitting together. That again is a small group communication. Now moving forward to the next type, that is public communication, right? And in public communication, it's communication others inform you and persuade, or in turn you inform and persuade others to do, to buy, or to think in a particular way, or to change an attitude, opinion, or value. Well, maybe in addition to these 2 points, let me give you an example. Usually in public communication, the number of participants are more than a small group. Like, though there is not a definite number, but just for the sake of understanding, I would say if there are around 10 up to 10 participants, we can say, well, that is a small group communication. But if there are 20, 30, 40 people, for example, if you are giving a presentation in your physical classroom where there are 45 or 50 or more than that students sitting in front of you, that is public communication actually, right? Or if you are attending maybe a session given by some expert in a particular area, and the number of participants is 30, 40 or 100, something like that, that is a public communication. So where you communicate with relatively large number of people, and usually this communication is to inform others about something or to persuade or convince others. Either you are doing it or somebody else is doing it, right? Now moving forward towards number 5, that is mass communication. Mass communication, it's through it you are entertained, informed, and persuaded by media. So for mass communication, usually there is media like movies, television, radio, newspaper, and books, where in some cases we do not even know our readers or our listeners, right? Also through your viewing habits and buying patterns, you in turn influence the media from the content. Of course, well, like one way they influence you, for example advertisements, then the way you take that new fashion or that new trend, that also influences media, and they also change. But this mass communication actually is uh, you know communication at the large level, right? Where we have movies, television, they can have millions of viewers, or in case of books they can have millions of readers. So that is.
Well, that's it for today. Uh, let's take brief recap. Today we have tried to understand our CLOs. We have also tried to understand why English language basic skills, reading, writing, speaking, and listening, are required for an engineer, or as a matter of fact for any professional. We also tried to differentiate between your functional English and this business communication course, so that you don't find that this is merely a repetition. And then we have also covered types of human communication. So that's it for today. If there are any questions, please note down the questions for our live session, and you will be welcome to ask a question. Your questions will be welcomed, and inshallah, see you in recorded lecture number 2. By then, take care, and Allah.